what's the career that you want to embark on? We have to see it from tangibles, like intangibles. You're looking for a career, not a job, essentially. So once you fix, essentially, what you're looking at, go towards it. The money will come.
Welcome to another episode of the Building Series, a podcast where we talk to business owners and leaders and hear their stories and game plan about business building. In this episode, we discuss building a FinTech platform in Singapore with Ian Leong, CEO of Tiger Brokers Singapore. So Ian, you spent about 15 years in Singapore's investment landscape, and more specifically within the brokerage space. Right. So when we first met, you were still in your first stint at Tiger Brokers Singapore. You left for a short while, and now you're currently back in your second stint as Tiger Brokers CEO in Singapore. Right. So we'll get into how that transpired soon enough. For the benefits of listeners who may not know, Singapore acts as the headquarters for Tiger Brokers global operations. Tiger Brokers itself is an MAS licensed brokerage platform and counts 1 in 3 adults in Singapore as a customer today. As a group, Tiger Brokers was founded in 2014 and is listed on the Nasdaq as Up FinTech Holding Limited under the ticker TIGR, or quite aptly pronounced Tiger, right? Okay, this also means Tiger Brokers celebrated its 10th anniversary this year. I was there. Thank you for the invite and congratulations on hitting that milestone. Let's dive into the podcast. Okay, so while you're CEO of Tiger Brokers Singapore today, I feel the best place to start is really at the beginning of your career, right? So I took the liberty of just going through your LinkedIn profile, thank them for it as well. And I learned that your first job was an equity dealer actually at a local brokerage firm after graduating in 2010. So my immediate thoughts when I saw that at the time, what a great time to be in the brokerage industry. I'm not sure whether you were thinking about it the same way, but from its lowest point after the GFC, right, in 2008, 2009, the stock market almost doubled in 2010. So that's the time where you ended as well. So what was it like being in the stock market and being working in the stock trading landscape at that point?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me today, Dinesh. Well, essentially, yes, indeed, after the GFC side of things, the stock market actually doubled. But I actually joined at the tail end of the bull. Yes, but I have to actually take a step back to actually share why I joined this industry. I made this decision quite a while back when I was still a kid. When I was probably about 8-9 years old. So I remember I was watching this TVB drama.
Okay.
I was like, you mean this job actually exists? Yes. So it was by the name of, it was a Chinese show, 大时代. Yes. So that was when I told myself I have to enter this industry.
What does it translate as?
大时代, the big times.
Okay.
Literally.
Yeah.
I can't remember what's the English name though. Yes. So at that point, I told myself I joined this industry either as a dealer or as a trading representative, randomizer. So I made sure that I had the relevant background, education, and before I joined this industry, I made sure I had the right skill sets. And meantime, I took my SingPass papers before I joined. Yes. So yes, when I joined in 2010, first as an equities dealer, I missed the bull market.
Okay.
Yes. So yes, but it's a marathon. It's a career.
Yes.
So essentially, we'll be here for the next 20, 30 years at least. Yeah.
Well, just to get a better understanding of what you were actually doing as an equities dealer, what were some of your roles and responsibilities as a dealer? And, was it different from the TVB show or was it different from your expectations?
Expectations indeed was a little bit different. When I first saw the TVB show itself, they still had the open outcry system. So that was what interested me a lot. But when I was 16, everyone went electronic. So I told myself, never mind, let's still continue. Yes. So when I first joined the industry, expectations, apart from that, was actually similar. Yes, our role is to help clients in terms of their investment journey, not just in terms of advisory, but also in terms of their day-to-day administrative side of things. It's a holistic support that we gave clients.
Okay. So, of course, you also became one of the earliest employees of Tiger Brokers Singapore. And from what I can tell, starting in April 2020, again, according to your LinkedIn profile, as head of business development back then. Right. So Tiger Brokers, did not really have a meaningful presence back then in Singapore. How did you manage to land this role?
Well, it was, I was quite fortunate. Basically, when the Tiger Brokers, when it first started in Singapore, was actually back in 2018.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a very small setup. They needed to actually have the right talent. In the meantime, apply for the MES license itself. So at that time, a couple of headhunters actually referred my services to Tiger Brokers. So that was when I met the initial team itself.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, you say you met some of the early team in Singapore. How was that interview process like?
Well, so to give you, like, say, for example, some colors. Well, in 2019, after they were licensed, so more or less, yes, I was supposed to join as the head of business development. So I met one of the co-founders. So before we met the co-founder, we had to come up with a strategy deck.
Okay.
Yes, what's our game plan in Singapore? How are we going to execute it? And how are we going to achieve it?
This was the interview process.
That was the interview process.
Okay.
So we did it over Starbucks at the time. We wanted to be casual, but you want me to casual, but in the meantime, sharing with you a strategy. Yes,
Yeah.
but yes. So from there, all our ideas were aligned.
Okay.
So essentially, yes, that was part of the interview process.
Okay. So I'm just wondering now, compared to traditional brokerages in Singapore, when Tiger Brokers was doing marketing, many other things in a quite a radical new way, right? Before joining the company, were there any uncertainties about joining this digital-only fintech investment platform?
Not exactly. Why did I say not exactly? Yeah. In fact, 2018 though was the first time I actually contacted touch base with Tiger Brokers. But the very first time I heard of this brand, this broker, was actually back in 2016.
Okay.
So I was still with a local broker. At that time, my boss was asking me, have you heard of Tiger Brokers? So I was saying, no. So the instruction was go research on them. So essentially, when you enter Singapore, yes, we can set our defenses to make sure that we are ready.
Okay.
So the more I researched about them, the more intrigued I was with their business model. So I told myself, in the event whereby Tiger Brokers was to come to Singapore, I have to join them.
Okay.
Yes. So apart from that, basically, when it comes to the culture side of things, it's pretty congruent because we are all out to make sure it's a success for the group, not just in Singapore, but globally itself.
Okay, cool. And it's been pretty well done ever since you joined. So, okay, after you first joined, there was strategies in place, maybe the co-founders would have told you their vision. But I'm just wondering again, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when you first joined? Transiting from, a more traditional brokerage pace in Singapore to quite a fast-paced startup-like environment at Tiger Brokers.
I believe I can break this up into two parts. So essentially, one is internal, one is external. Internal, it's always assimilating into the culture. Indeed, Dinesh correctly pointed out, the culture here is very, very fast-paced as compared to, I would say, a local company as a whole. Yes, so the initial couple of months, we need to step up our gear a bit. Okay. And after all, it's during the COVID period, so we are working from home. So the hours, I got to be frank with you, it was a bit long. But, within a couple of months, we are used to it. Yeah, the local team itself. So apart from that, when it comes to, say, for example, clients-facing side of things, it's we are a new brand, a new broker itself. Yeah. It's always about making sure clients are comfortable looking at assets with us, and also in the meantime for us to provide the right solutions, services, and products to said clients. So I recall at that time, essentially it was a COVID period. So there was a lockdown, a circuit breaker.
Yeah.
So a lot of investors actually wants to invest in the market. So at that time, a normal broker is going to take you 1 month to open an account because there was a long list of clients waiting to open their accounts. But
and
for
it was
us,
also not very digital friendly at the time, is it?
Yes.
I remember you had to submit papers.
Correct. Some of them still have to submit papers. Others, they already have the online account opening. But essentially, there was still a very long backlog.
Okay.
So for us at that time, we emphasize on 3 things. One is that essentially, when it comes to our product, we have the best app in the market. And we are also regulated by MES. And last but not least, you can actually open an account in less than an hour, 5 minutes, essentially, using a SingPass. So it worked. So that's why in 2021, essentially, we had a very good growth. Yeah. And we never looked back since. Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, so you mentioned, there was quite a long working hours back then. So I'm wondering again whether it's still the case today, and, whether some of the things that we've heard about the 996, is that kind of true about a Chinese startup?
I would say yes and no. Why yes and no. Previously, when I was at Tiger, indeed the working hours was long, but it was also due to COVID. Yeah, because all of us were working from home. So essentially, what happened is it was a very gray area whereby, are you working or are you resting?
Okay.
Yes. So this is why long hours, before you know it, it's 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So this was one of the reasons. Secondly, when it comes to now at Tiger Brokers, or should I say in general, basically, we love to localize because we actually need to understand, like say, for example, how the local environment works.
Yeah.
So essentially for us, we don't have on long working hours. It's more about are you able to deliver within the stipulated time frame? That's about it. Yeah.
Okay. So let's fast forward to today, since you joined about 4 years ago already. So you're CEO of the Singapore operations, but you still have a boss to answer to, you're CEO of Tiger Brokers Singapore, there's Tiger Brokers above you, right? So I don't expect your role to be also pure employer-employee at the same time, right? So can you just, maybe explain how, your working relationship is with the Tiger Brokers hierarchy?
Open, transparent. Open and transparent, why I say that it's, even though we are a pretty big organization right now, when it comes to the reporting hierarchy between myself, the co-owners, founder itself, it's pretty nimble, pretty flat. So we actually communicate on a daily basis. Yes. So you can see it as Camelot, King Arthur's knight and his knights, the round table.
Okay.
Yeah, analogy. Why I said so? Because when it comes to our founder, he has a rule. You can't call each other bosses. You can't call him big boss. Essentially, we call each other by name.
Okay.
Yes. He wants to level the playing field. So essentially, if let's say you have any feedbacks, you have any suggestions, straight to the point. Yes.
Okay.
So essentially, it actually has a very transparent and open a line of communication. So this is why essentially it's easy for us to actually communicate and to actually set down strategies for years to come.
Okay, that's nice to know, right? Okay, so another thing Tiger Brokers is very well known for, it's ultra low cost brokerage, right? So when it burst onto the scene in 2020, I think that was something that everyone had at top of mind. Right? You could start buying and selling Singapore, US, Hong Kong stocks from just a few dollars. Back then, I think if I remember correctly, it was like nothing below $30 around there. Right? Okay, so that was game changing. But some other things that were also game changing. Where in terms of marketing, new investors could receive free shares of very popular companies. So I remember I received a free Facebook share, and then my wife received a free Starbucks share. So very lucrative, attractive to join a new brokerage platform. So can you verbalize, what was your strategy to win the Singapore market? How did it come about? And how big or small of a part did these free shares or free stocks play?
For us, it's investment is a journey. Yes, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So essentially when an investor, a client, a person who actually start his investment journey is from now to when he retire or even beyond itself. So for us, it's always about helping at each different juncture in this journey. When you first started up, we give you the necessary information to pick up the knowledge. As you progress, with more years of experience, you want to try different products. That's where we furbish you the relevant products. And at the end, so on and so forth. So for us at Tiger Brokers, essentially is we will anticipate what clients want and need. And from there, we deliver. To a certain extent, sometimes where our clients may not even notice that they need certain functions or products, but we have it ready first.
Okay.
So essentially, when they need it, it's there available. I'll give you a few examples. Say, for example, this year in February, we launched our Tiger Boss card, the very first debit card issuer in the brokerage scene in Singapore. So essentially, this is actually after feedbacks from our clients stating that, hey, all my funds are with you, and they're all earning interest from the MMF, Tiger Vault itself. So it's quite a hassle for me to always transfer in and out for my lifestyle, daily expenses. So after hearing this feedback, so this is when we came up with the debit card. So gone are the days whereby you need to transfer to your bank account to actually make payments. You can actually do so with the Tiger Brokers account. And from there is a 1% cashback itself too. Because we do a lot of periodic client engagement. So another feedback that we commonly receive is, hey, if only you guys have CDP linkage, so from there we can even be investing on a more conducive manner. So this is why in April this year, we also launched our Cash Boost account, which allows you to link your CDP, account with us and transact from there. So for us, essentially, it's always about delivering what clients need in one platform for them. Now, the part about the free shares, yes, it's always users, investors, clients are always very happy to receive free shares. But for us, it's not a gimmick to actually acquire new clients. No, it's actually for us to give to clients. So the moment they have a share itself, they can experience how is it like to transact, to sell away the shares. Yes, having a feeling of owning something at the start.
Okay, put. And I am also a user of your Tiger Brokers Boss card.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think the other thing that's quite novel about it is that you get to earn fractional shares as well. In terms of your 1% cashback, it's in fractional shares rather than just a cash.
Yes.
So that kickstarts your investment journey as well.
Oh, yes. So initially, we first gave Tesla followed by NVIDIA. So the client's feedback, our users' feedback, is it possible if, let's say, you let me choose from a basket?
Okay.
So yes, now they can actually choose from a basket of stocks.
Right. Okay. So while life may have been exciting in the initial months, you did leave Tiger Brokers for about a year-ish, from what I can understand. You joined another innovative brokerage that was trying to enter the Singapore market as well. So I think my question, where I'm going with this is that what made you decide to leave in the first place? Since you said you always wanted to join or be with Tiger Brokers, and then obviously, what made you come back again?
Right. For us, it's similar as an investment journey. It's a marathon. For myself, similarly, it's a career that I'm achieving, not a job itself. So my career aspirations is very simple. I genuinely want to actually grow the industry in Singapore itself. So not just a broker per se.
Yep.
So when I was having fantastic times with Tiger for the first 1.5 years. So before I left, we were in good hands. We were the number one digital platform in the market in Singapore itself. So when a challenge actually came in to help a Hong Kong broker to set up shop in Singapore from scratch and help them grow from there, it was a bit hard to resist or refuse this challenge itself. So I sat down, I spoke with my co-founder. So I shared with him my aspirations. So he understood the reasons why I decided to leave.
Okay.
So
it was a very open discussion.
It was an open discussion.
Yeah.
So at that time, he confidently told me we will definitely be working again. I hope to see you soon. So we maintained contact throughout these 2 years. So fast forward 2 years later, which was last year itself. So he gave me a call. So he was like saying, hey, it's time to come back. Yeah. So I always believe in leaving companies in good hands first before I leave.
Okay.
So my previous join, I made sure it was the same. Yes. In fact, I had an offer a couple of months in when I joined the company by a bigger digital broker itself. But I declined because, yes, it's always about ethics and integrity. I will not leave if the project is not completed.
Yeah.
Yes. So at my previous join, the foundation, everything was done. The rebranding was done itself. So I spoke to the owner, and yes, he was saying, okay, I wish you all the best. And from there, that's why I came back to Tiger Brokers. It was just like homecoming. The team is still the same. So everyone is still the same. Yes.
Very nice. I guess the one parallel I can kind of, everyone kind of know is, Steve Jobs, left Apple, maybe in more acrimonious situation, but, he did come back. That's the one parallel, right? So you are kind of an esteemed company here, But I ask this because I also want to understand what maybe new insights or perspective you may have gained during your time away, that influence, your approach the second time round at Tiger Brokers.
Right. We are always learning. Yeah. Life is a learning process throughout. Yes. When you're 1 all the way to your 80, 90 and beyond. So for me, it's, as you can see, you've seen my LinkedIn. So I've been with quite a few brokerage firms. What I do notice, it's all of us have our own strengths, our own forte. And we always have to leverage on our strengths to make sure we serve the investors in this region to the best we can. But having said that, your strategies have to be congruent with your strengths along with the current market conditions and what's happening. Yes. So that's why a lot of our peers, whereby we always meet on a daily, weekly basis, they do understand that when it comes to strategies for, even though we are all in the same industry for different companies, it will have to differ, even from different time period.
Okay.
So say, for example, at Tiger, when at COVID period, we had a strategy at that time which works. But now, post-COVID, we have to do a totally different strategy to help investors in this region itself.
So one common advice we hear today, is that, employees should always look for new roles, maybe sometimes, I'm not sure whether it's a good or bad way to say it, jump, make a few jumps every now and then, because they can earn more than what their existing company would have paid them, right? So obviously yours is a bit different because you went from, a leadership role to another leadership role, right? But I'm wondering what are some of the push and pull factors, for senior leaders to leave and join firms?
I'll take a step back first before answering the senior leader side of things. More for, say, for example, a normal employee.
Yeah.
Yes. For us, it's always about. I'll be frank with you. When it comes to a job, all of us, it's like looking at the remuneration side of things.
Yeah.
But we have to see it from tangibles. I've seen tangibles. Tangibles, which is your money, dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also the intangibles in terms of the experience you can actually gain from it. Yes, we do notice that there is a lot of people hopping careers. Each time they hop 25, 30%, things like that. But essentially, you have to ask yourself one question. Yes. What's the career that you want to embark on?
Yep.
Yes. You're looking for a career, not a job, essentially. So once you fix, essentially, what you're looking at, go towards it, work towards it. The money will come. Yes. The money will come as you progress during your career itself. So that's the I would say the sharing that I will share with.
So the intangible side is like equally important, actually.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I don't mind sharing. When I was first looking after my first department of dealers, my monthly was even lower than my dealers. Yeah, but I was very thankful. Yeah. I was very thankful to my mentor and my boss at that time.
Okay.
He taught me a lot of intangibles. Yes, for me to absorb this experience elsewhere is going to take me at least half of the time.
Okay.
Hence, this is why I focus a lot on the intangible side of things instead of the tangibles.
Yep.
Yes. And moving forward to the business leader side of things, for us, it's also always about the intangibles. What do I mean by that? Instead of the learning process, it's more about the self-actualization. What's the value we can give to the organization?
Yeah.
Yes. And what's the value we can give to the organization that we are going to join? So if you ask me, this is the primary push and pull factor when it comes to us deciding who should we adding value to.
Okay.
Yes.
So you also were one of the earliest or one of the early employees at Tiger Brokers Singapore. So I'm wondering whether the company culture that you helped build from the early days, was still present when you came back about 2 years later.
Well, time flies. Initially, we had a team of 20-ish, but right now we are closer to 90 itself. So it's about, say, 3 to 4 times the size.
Yeah.
So at that time, what happened was the team is very cohesive. The team is very cohesive, and all of us wanted Tiger to succeed locally. Now, fast forward to now, present day. So the guys all knows about it. What we advocate over here is a positive, non-toxic culture. Because I'll be frank with you, we see each other more than I see my mom. Yes, on a daily basis.
Okay.
Yes. So we want to have a conducive environment where all of us are comfortable.
Yeah.
Whereby all of us can trust each other. So this is why I always advocate a lot when it comes to communication and synergy cross departments. 1 + 1 = 3. So yes. So this is our Tiger Brokers culture right now.
Very nice. So can you share some of the biggest failures that you've been able to learn from in your career as well?
I'll be frank with Dinesh. I'm very thankful that I had quite a number of mentors throughout my career itself. So they guided me in terms of how certain things should be done. and also not just in terms of the career side of things, and also how should we behave as a person, that integrity and ethics. So that's something that I'm very thankful of. I will also be frank, at the earlier part of my career, I tend to be more impatient. I want results fast. So my mentors have always been telling me, hey, pace, results will come eventually.
Yeah.
Foundation first. Lay down your foundation, and from there, your house is built on sturdy, strong foundations, not on shifting sands. So from there, I actually heeded their advice. So instead of looking for fast results, which I did at the start of my career, now I'm only here to actually lay down foundations and plan for our strategies in time to come. So well, to answer your question in a very concise manner, I was impatient, so I wanted fast results. So if you ask me, it's one of the failures that I feel that I've made at the start.
Okay, so now that you're CEO, are there any decisions that you are making today that you realize, hey, Ian, when he just started his career, may not have fully appreciated or agreed with this decision?
Tough love. So as mentioned, I was very thankful to have many mentors early in my career itself. So certain decisions that they make, I also be, back then I'll be thinking, why is he doing this to me? Things like that. So right now, I always like to tell my directors and heads, I look after you, but you have to look after your own guys, your own teammates itself. So certain decisions that I make, it's for the best of them, because they have to learn. Some of the guys with me, they have been in the market for 20, 25 years, even more experienced than me. But some, they're starting roles of leadership. Some has been about, say, 5, 8 years itself. So certain decisions that I make to them, it's for them to learn how to lead your team moving forward. So for us, it's not about just growing business, not just growing numbers itself, but we also need to grow our team. Yeah, not in terms of numbers, but in terms of their experience, well-being, and in terms of their career. So I have to look after them in terms of their career itself. So certain things, see it as a parent. Tough love, so that they learn for the best of their future moving forward.
Okay, got it. So Tiger Brokers have obviously come a long way since you first joined. We've already cited some of the stats. 1 in 3 adults in Singapore, very impressive, right? It's already a customer of you guys. So you may be looked as the incumbents today, the guys that are entrenched in the industry, and then innovative broker, or even an external broker, maybe trying to disrupt what you have done, what you've created. So what are you and Tiger Brokers doing to stay ahead of the game?
As mentioned earlier on to the initiative itself, for us, we have a very simple philosophy. We deliver what client need and want, sometimes even before they anticipate it. Yes. So for us, it's always helping clients the whole journey itself. Yes. So for us, it's making sure at each juncture we handhold them to make sure we give them what they need. This simple analogy, this simple concept has served us well for the last 10 years itself. Yes. Okay. So I believe we will be continuing on this to deliver what client need.
And I like the way that you mentioned, you said you also preempt, what they may need. One of the examples I can cite is just before Tiger Brokers came into the market, people in Singapore, investors in Singapore, they didn't have access to many different types of products.
Yes.
And then only when you guys came in, along, with the marketing, along with the low brokerage cost, you brought this real tangible good for the market. You can create different products like options, different products like futures now quite easily. Right? So that's one of the tangible things that I've realized you have done. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to end off already. This is my last question. So thank you very much for being on our podcast show. It's been very enlightening. Get to understand not only your career, but also the trajectory of the brokerage space. So thanks for enlightening us. One last question I always like to end off our sessions or our podcast with. As someone who has worked with both traditional and new brokerages in the Singapore market, what are some lessons that you have learned that you think aspiring business leaders may neglect to consider in their career move?
Similar to what I've mentioned earlier, but I'll actually phrase it in terms of pain is momentary, glory lasts a lifetime. What do I mean by that? In fact, essentially, this was a phrase taught by, I used to play rugby back in school. So this was something that our coach actually told us.
I was thinking you were quoting the national service, because when I was in the army, they say this is something along the same lines, like
Along the same lines,
pain
St. Andrews.
is-
So
pain
yeah.
is like something leaving the body. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is sometimes at the start of our career, we may see that, hey, it doesn't make sense. This is out of my job scope.
Yeah.
Why am I working long hours? Why am I involved in projects that, I should not be involved in?
Yep.
But essentially, this is what that helps you grow. Yes, the tangibles when it comes to remuneration, it will come in time because we are not looking for a job, but as mentioned, a
The career.
Yes.
Yeah.
So essentially, when it comes to aspiring business leaders, it's the same thing. End of the day, it's I add in one more phrase. Essentially, if you are doing something that you love, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
So it's not a chore. So even if you tell me you're coming back to office 7 days a week, you still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yes. So look for something that you're passionate in,
Okay.
something that can help you to achieve your goal.
Right.
Yes, essentially.
Okay. Thanks, Ian. Thanks for your candid sharing. It's been an enjoyable time for me. I hope you had fun too.
I have fun too, man.
Right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Right. Take care, Dinesh.